Hey, Deck It Out DIYers, welcome to this month's Gnome of the Month for March. He is so cute. So let's talk about how we're going to paint him. When you receive your box, some of the pieces will be separate and some of them will be on a sheet. So take that apart, and then I always encourage you to lay all the pieces out so you know where they go, you know how they fit, and then you can start brainstorming color ideas, okay? Keep your tape because you're going to, or we encourage you to, use the tape to put the little pieces on so that you can paint them without holding them down and holding the paint. So we're just gonna take each piece apart and I'm going to lay them down. Now I try to this is the sides of his body. So I'm gonna put those together so I paint them together. I'm gonna put his hands together so I can paint those at the same time. The pot of gold isn't huge, or it is huge, but it's still fun to put it on the tape. Just one less thing to kind of hold on to. His beard. Okay, I'm gonna grab another piece of tape so I can line up my next pieces. His nose. The brim of his hat. So everything comes apart. The Gnome of the Month is a project that is kind of like a puzzle when you get to put it all together. Okay, I don't really need to tape these ones down. I mean, maybe I'll just put the cloud there. But this one we're gonna paint, and as you saw that there was overlapping with the there was overlapping down here with the cloud. So we're just gonna run our paint down the rainbow. Okay, so once everything is laid out, you have your paints, we're going to get started. I'll kind of give you some tips, and then we'll paint, and then we'll come back to assemble. All right, here we go. So I'm going to start with the pieces, and then I'll move to the rainbow. So when you paint the pieces, a couple things that I found. When you want to use the yellow specifically, it's nice to paint the base coat white. It will just help the color stand out more. If you want to paint everything white and then paint over it the other color, feel free to do that. So when you paint, you're gonna dip it in your paint, as you can kind of see on the screen, and then I'm gonna dab it off. You don't need a lot of paint, less is more, okay? And I'm dabbing because I don't need to paint the sides. The sides are kind of burnt edges, which give it a nice clean look. And you don't need a lot of paint to paint these little pieces. Anyway, so I dab it in the paint, I dab it off, and then I just dab. So continue doing this with all of these pieces, just kind of keeping with the dab, and then come back and do a second coat of paint if you would like. Okay, DIYers, so I painted the entire rainbow white first. I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to pick up my paints and I'm going to run them down the stripes. Now, I could still see the lines, but I don't know if you could. So I took my X-Acto knife and I ran it down the lines so that you could see that. I'm going to get close to those paint spots. I don't know if I'm gonna for surely make sure that the paint doesn't touch. We'll see, but I gotta let this dry. So let your paint dry, and I painted it white so that sometimes the red doesn't stand out very well. The yellow for surely needs a white background. So I just painted the whole thing so I didn't have to worry about any of the colors not popping. They'll all pop now that we have the white laid down. So once it's dry, we're gonna start running our colors down the rainbow. Okay, DIYers, we have painted. So just a recap of what happened with my rainbow. So I painted the white, and then as you saw in the video, I kind of just swooshed my colors down the rainbow, and I wasn't too careful of overlapping and kind of blending. Do more of that if you want, because the rainbow blends, right? The rainbow colors do blend. As we see the rainbow, it's kind of just, we see the colors, but we also see the blending of the colors. So I'm excited to see where your creative eye goes with this. And then this is kind of messy at the bottom because we do put the cloud at the bottom. Super fun, right? So I'm going to leave my rainbow like that. Now, I want you to put everything together, but don't glue. So piece it all back together. Don't glue. Why do we do this? To make sure everything fits and everything looks the way you want it to look before you glue it down. Because once you glue it down, it's kind of over with, right? So I want you to make sure that you place it down. You have all your pieces again, because it's like a puzzle. We got to have all of our pieces and make sure everything fits the way you want it to, looks the way you want it to. And then we'll work on gluing. Okay, we're going to start gluing this together. One thing I did notice was that I did not paint right here at the bottom of his pot of gold. And I decided to paint white here because then it will kind of look like his beard, you know, because gnomes have long beards. So I painted white right there. So the foot of the pot of gold will have white behind it. Okay, so now you're going to take your glue. And this is a large piece, so give it a good amount of glue. And then mine is kind of warped upward a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that it lines up on the bottom. That's very important. And then I'm going to just push down on it. And I'm going to find a bottle of paint that will hold it in place for me. And while I finish gluing the rest of this down. So now I will, oh, hold on a second. Let's see if I can, there we go. Probably better for your vision here. Okay, now we're going to apply glue to the leprechaun himself, the hat and all of his accessories. So we're gonna glue that together. Just make sure everything fits along the edge the way it's, it should match up. Okay, at the bottom, you always want to make sure that it's flat so that your project will sit at the table or it will sit next to your tiered tray or wherever you want to display the gnome. So make sure that these are level so that they do stand nicely for you. Okay? All right, Deck It Outers, we did it again. Our gnome of the month is so cute. He is awesome. He's going to look great in your house, in your office, wherever you love to display your gnomes. So thanks for joining us. Make sure you check into our Deck It Out exclusive Facebook group at Deck It Out DIYers and share with us what you create this month. We'll see you soon.